My name is Christine Kerravala, and I'm from Westminster, Massachusetts. And I was diagnosed with CVID in October 2016. The diagnosis came after being sick for about 2.5 years. And it was also a week after my 50th birthday when I got diagnosed. I had been really healthy for most of my life. Actually, as an infant, toddler, I did have a lot of respiratory problems. I had pneumonia quite a few times, asthma, bronchitis. Never a big ear infection person, but was in and out of the hospital a lot as a younger child. And then I got completely healthy. I'm a nurse, and I worked at a university campus hospital, a big hospital, for 11 years. And I would actually brag about my immune system, that I wouldn't even get the simplest of colds or GI stuff. I'm a mom. My kids would get sick. I wouldn't get sick. And so I just felt kind of like this superhuman that just was immune to everything. And then 2.5 years ago, I just started getting simple colds. I wasn't working at the university hospital anymore. I was working as a substitute nurse for 5 schools in my district. And I would get cold after cold, GI bugs, to the point where I'd always end up in the hospital having to get IV fluids to be hydrated. And so something clearly was wrong. Unfortunately, during that time, my primary care doctor retired, so I had to get a new primary care doctor. And my husband and I went to her and told her about what was going on and gave her all my symptoms. And she decided to test my gamma globulins. And I had no idea at the time why, but she just chose to do that. And when they came back, they all came back low across the board. And so she said, yeah, you have hypogammaglobulinemia and you need to go see a hematologist just to have further testing done. I went to the hematologist, and the hematologist looked at me, and the first thing he said was, why did your doctor run these tests? And I said, you know what, I don't know. I just told her what was going on with me, and that's what she did. I later found out that she had a couple kids in her practice that had CVID, and so that's kind of what sent the red flag up in her mind, but I didn't know that at the time. Nor had I any idea what CVID or hypogammaglobulinemia, I didn't know what they were. So I went to the hematologist. He did more testing, and he said, yep, you definitely do. You have CVID. I think you should go see an immunologist. I went to an immunologist, and in the meantime, actually, I was diagnosed with melanoma. And I had always loved being in the sun, never bothered me. But one thing that had changed was all of a sudden I had this intolerance to heat. I couldn't stand being outside. I couldn't stand being in the sun. I would get heat exhaustion really quickly, and it was just something that was not me. So I also that summer got bit by a bat, and I was out in my yard, and it was sunset. My husband and I were sitting by the fire, and a bat came down and just kind of bit me on my arm. So I had to go through all the rabies shots and everything. But when I went to go see this immunologist, he was concerned because the rabies titers weren't staying inside my system. I was getting rid of them really fast, and so he knew something was wrong. He did a lot of tests. It was about 24 vials of blood, and he came back telling me that I did not have CVID, but I had something definitely wrong with me, and I should continue on seeing other doctors. And at the time, he also told me I would probably have to have the rabies shots all over again because they were leaving my system. So before I went to another doctor, he looked at me and he said, I know you're a nurse, and I know how nurses are, And he said, you have to keep going to the doctor because there's something wrong. And at that point, I was really frustrated, just not feeling well and having all these strange things happen to me. So I went to an infectious disease doctor, and the infectious disease doctor checked out my titers, and pretty much all of my titers were gone. No measles, mumps, rubella, no tetanus. The rabies was pretty much gone. All the protein titers were missing. So he suggested that he run some more tests and find out what's going on, but he said, it sounds like you have CVID. So he ran more tests. I'd already had the pneumococcal vaccine, and that came back that I had very few particles left of it. It was all pretty much gone. And all the other tests he ran indicated that I have CVID. And that was in October of 2016. And by December, early December, I started on IVIG infusions that I've been going to an infusion center to have. It's been a real struggle. It's been just, I would say, like this major roller coaster ride that you just don't want to be on, you never asked to be on, and you just want to get off. And I think the highs and the lows of you just want your old life back. You're sick of being sick. You're sick. You're tired of being sick all the time. You're tired of being exhausted all the time. And being a nurse, like I could understand it and rationalize it in my head. Yes, this is why this is happening. But it was really hard for me personally to be able to accept that I'm not going to be that person anymore. I'm not going to be the old Christine. And trying to understand, well, why haven't I been sick my whole life? Why did this just all of a sudden come about and happen? I would love to eventually help to be an advocate. I had somebody take me under their wing when I first was diagnosed, and I found the support group very, very fast. And I met a person she actually lives in Michigan, and I'm in Massachusetts, but she's actually here today. We met in person for the first time, and she's just been wonderful. I would love to be able to pay it forward and to help somebody else one day the way she's helped me, because I honestly don't know what I would have done without her guiding me and comforting me and just being there for me when, sure, your family members can be there for you and they can try to sympathize, but truly at the end of the day, they don't know what it feels like. It's just different until you actually have a diagnosis like this. And I don't fault them at all, but I think it's absolutely great to have some people out there that you can connect with that understand.